Yes, the spoils of a online entrepreneur, online business person. Hi, I'm Ray. It's the 15th of February, and I happen to live in London, and as you can see, we're kind of coming to the end of the Friday. The sun is about to set, and I've been just blasting it. And I can't say that I've been grinding it out. I have to say that I really have been enjoying what I do because I enjoy what I do, which is, I'm really fortunate. But then again, it hasn't always been the case. I mean, there's been frustrations when I didn't know how to do something online and I was very new to the game, and admittedly, I got frustrated and just, and interestingly, the more frustrated I got, the more things didn't work. And that kind of leads me to the key point of the whole point of getting in flow and how do you make things happen and starting to enjoy what you do. It's all about up here. It's all mindset and it's all mind shift. Of course, there are going to be challenges, and of course, there are always things that are going to present. And I, of all people, anybody who knows me, I get frustrated. I've historically gotten frustrated a little bit too easily, but fortunately, I let my history kind of dictate as to what my present and future are going to be, and that's a process and a journey of my own, to grapple with that or drop that or shift that, or not just thinking out of the box, just getting rid of the box outright. That's kind of intellectually, I knew all that. And hey, there's a plane. I wonder where they're going. Um, um, Intellectually, I can understand it. I understand the words. I know what the words mean. I understand. Conceptually, I understand what it means to kind of with a mindset, what it means to have flow and to be in abundance. But it really isn't until you experience it and the shift that does one really understand what that means. Um, the key here is an abundance mindset as opposed to a poverty mindset. And historically, that's from the old school model ways of my doing things. That is something that's been sadly too familiar. Struggling to break away from the shackles of poverty, and the idea of trying to, that pie in the sky, that they are reaching for the low-hanging fruit or even the high-hanging fruit, is kind of an old way of looking at things, because actually it's a case of that if you actually look at things immediately as they're abundant and looking around and being grateful for what actually is available and does happen, be surprised how much one is actually able to see. However, how would how would one, question to pose here is how would we know if we have an abundant mindset or whether we have a poverty one? That's a good question. I mean, I think it's looking at, kind of what our actions are. Is like, you know, um, it's like you can say, for example, let's say I have a business and, it requires that my phone ring in order for me to, to talk to people, to gain a business, to generate business, and the phone doesn't ring. But then, as a result of that, I have quiet within my kind of office space, and I'm able to catch up on the things that normally get put aside, such as my bookkeeping or possibly making other connections or learning a new program or reaching out and reconnecting with those people that I've been very remiss in being connected to are actually quite valuable to my business. Um, Having that time and affordability to do that. Well, normally it'd be like really frustrated. The phone didn't ring, and I had nothing else, so I did. There's that. I didn't make any money. However, or I've got, hey, well, wait a minute. I had some, I've had this stuff sitting in my in tray. I've had these things that I've wanted to do for a long time. I haven't been able to do them, and all of a sudden I'm going to do. But however, looking at those key things that are able to move me forward, in things like learning a new program or tweaking a few things or wrestling with or editing something that hasn't been quite right, or grappling with a YouTube video that might not necessarily be playing properly that I normally wouldn't have time to, or I'm too tired at the time to, and looking at it, just spinning it literally on its head. Um, Abundance, that's abundance of time and energy. I mean, abundance of resource and capital and cash. Examples would be as to where you frequent in your shopping, your day to day. I mean, I'm very keen on supporting local businesses. I'm not particularly keyed up on supporting the big, kind of huge corporations. Having worked with them myself, I really know how they run their businesses, and they're not particularly interested in, some are, I shouldn't say that, some are actually, interested in supporting, the small enterprise and the mom and pop shops. But I mean, even within the local community, the shops that have shut down are the mom and pop shops, and the other ones have effectively squeezed them out, or over competitized their, undercut their pricing structure so they can't afford. Mind you, things are slightly overpriced now, and the wage is free. So there are people out there who are struggling, who go by the old models. But somebody who has abundant mindset could walk in and say, well, actually, I'm not always seeking out the sale. I'm not always seeking out the deal. I'm not always seeking out because I don't have to, because I'm telling myself and the universe and the everything around me that I am in abundance, I have flow, and there's plenty to go around. And in fact, that is the case. And the more people actually think that, now it's not about just being kind of flippantly and just splashing cash to be kind of like, crass and gauche, but it is about being kind of in flow, that there is abundance, as opposed to being a tightwad and being completely held back and held shut down and so forth and so on. So I mean, I think the whole key point here is having an open and an abundance flow mind, or a withdrawn kind of held back. So no, it's not about being unsensible. It's not about being brash. It's not about being a bravado. It's not any of that stuff. It's about a message and a vibration that there is in fact plenty for everyone out there. And when you have that exuding from you yourself, I mean, I'm learning this all the time, is that it's not just about splashing, I would say splashing cash, but being able to afford the things of the good things in life, which is great. But that openness and that availability to the possibilities and that abundance touches every other area of your life. Abundance of love and heartfeltness and friendship and good timing and joy and happiness and jolliness and playfulness. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about being holdout, withdrawn, unavailable, unreceptive. And I, of all people, have been, I've gone through this journey. And recently, having been to an event called Releasing Your Inner Badass in Austin, Texas, I mean, that was amazing. 4,000 other people, including the leaders who are already doing it, to the people who are newbie, just checking all this stuff out, never even really thought about it before. Across the spectrum, having those breakthroughs, a realization that basically that the possibilities are endless as long as we believe it and we get out of the way and we work on those processes to get to the next level. And that is what's key here, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video as part of a series of my experience, my exploration, my adventure, my journey through life of, going through, all the different terrains and the peaks and the valleys, and hopefully more highs than lows, of living, the good life. So on that note, I hope you find yours, and may it be abundant. And happy Friday, TGIF.